Man, you know it's free Durk till it's backwards, but at the same time, I ain't gonna lie, it ain't really looking too good for my boy Durkio Smirkio right now, the voice of the streets, the voice of Chicago. Not looking too good for him right now. Because in my last video, I was talking about how the lawyer's putting in some motions to get the case thrown out because the state never had any real evidence, but the prosecutor's pretty much saying, hey bro, you know what you did, we know what you did, and we got a snitch on our side, so you already know it's going down, 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 down. I'm from the grave, but if you don't know what's going on, let's go ahead and get straight into it right now, shawty fo. But there is a rat in OTF, and the feds are going to do a RICO and racketeering case too. That's what it's seeming like. And I'm gonna pull up the paperwork right now so we can read it step by step, hand to hand. You know what I'm saying? No Diddy. You know what I'm saying? Only hold hands with the woman's, but you know what I'm saying? But I'm finna walk you through everything that's going on. So as you can see in the paperwork right here, the affidavit further state that confidential witness 1 provided information about shootings and other overt actions that OTF members and associates took to commit violence on behalf of OTF. So what he's saying right here is he's snitching on anything that can pretty much get him any time off, and if he can avoid any time in the feds at all, because you know the whole point of snitching is to avoid time, hopefully go into witness protection or something, live your life like a regular civilian for the rest of your days while your homies is serving life in prison, even though y'all did the same damn thing. But the witness is definitely trying to separate himself, and we still don't know who confidential informant or confidential witness number 1 is, but it's a lot of speculation, but we don't really know who it is. The second part of this is going to say that affidavit then provided a specific example of racketeering activity in which defendant Banks and other OTF members participated, specifically an Atlanta robbery turned shooting in which defendant Banks and Davon Bennett were both charged with attempted murder and participation in criminal street gang activity. Now, if you don't know about this, they did beat this case. Now, it was kind of weird how they beat the case after Von died. I think, you know, Von died, and since he's dead anyway, he just took the weight because dead man can't speak, so they put everything on the dead. But I do feel like there was a lot of different things going on in Atlanta that we don't know about, and they're going to try to put everything together, with the feds at least, because this isn't a state case. If it was a state case, he probably would have beat it. I wouldn't really be too scared for Smirk. But since it's feds, they're going to try to link him to Chicago murders, Atlanta murders, LA murders. They're trying to link him to everything because he's that big of an influence and that big of a personality that people are going to want to kill people and do things for him, especially when you put the money on someone's head like that. But just when you think it couldn't get even worse for OTF, it got even worse, because with this new information that we're getting, this is just a shit show on all sides. So it says, following the murder of OTF member Davon Bennett, aka King Von, the affidavit further disclosed that confidential witness 1 knew that defendant Banks placed other monetary bounties for the murder of people with whom defendant Banks was feuding, including 6 other individuals. The affidavit also listed significant evidence corroborating confidential witness 1's account of defendant Banks' involvement in SR's murder. Now, this is really insane to me, because you're telling me that Durk was out in blood. Basically, when Vine got hit up and D-Thing got hit up right after that, bro, he was out on get back time, and he was having everybody whacked. You ain't slide for Vine? Whack. You was there and you saw Vine get smoked and you ran? Whack. You was outside and you goddamn claiming Vine and you ain't doing nothing and putting up no money? Whack. You outside goddamn saying you had something to do with my brother getting smoked? Whack. And he just putting murder. He putting murder money on everybody's head. And can you, I'm not going to say can I blame him, because it's still stupid to be outside and participating in these street activities when you rapping about the street activities and you goddamn got a public identity as a street guy. It's really crazy, but he had to do it about his respect. I don't really agree with it 100%, 110%, but you do what you got to do in these street needs to goddamn uphold your reputation and get some more money on. It's very unfortunate, but that's just the time that we in right now. And we all knew that he was putting bounties on people's head in Chicago. Everybody knew that. Everybody knew as soon as the BDs got some money, Durk, Sosa, everybody else that was rapping around the time that was a BD, Reese and them, you feel what I'm saying? They was putting money on people's head, bro. They was putting money in the hood. They was putting money on people's heads. Why you think so many GDs was dying? Niggas was getting smoked. And the GDs wasn't getting enough money to really combat that. That's what everybody in the city thinks, at least. You know what I'm saying? Because if we're really talking about who won the war, the BDs won the war, but nobody really wins the war because everybody died at the end of the day. But it's still crazy because the snitch is just hurting himself, because they don't even have solid evidence still. They're just taking the snitch word and some things that he got against Durk's word. So they don't have solid evidence yet. So this could really go either way, but there's still some more information we got to go over. So the first piece of information we got to go over, the fact that they're still trying to use song lyrics against Lil Durk, even though these song lyrics and the engineer producer has come out to say, hey, this song came out way before we even found out that Quando Rondo had anything to do or he was killed or whatever. But the feds don't care about that. The feds are basically saying, yeah, we know that. We're just not connecting this to that. We're connecting this to other murders as well. Because in December of 2022, the Banks was featured on a song called Wonderful Wayne and Jackie Boy. And the song Banks raps that it's fucked up that I'd rather get revenge instead of millions. Told me they got an Addy, go, go. Got location, go, go. Green light, go, 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 go. Look on the news and see your son screaming, no, no. Pussy. Notably, following SR's murder on August 19th, bystander video captured TB screaming no, no when he saw SR's body pulled from the Escalade. And if you don't know who TB is, Quando Rondo. SR is obviously gonna be Lil Pop, that who died. That's his real name, his initials for his real name at least. And they're trying to paint this narrative, what I think, to the juror or the jury or even the judge. They're gonna be trying to paint this narrative that, hey, Durk is a killer. He get people whacked. He's really about that life. Like, don't listen to any of these things that he's trying to say that he's not about that, because he really is about it. So he's trying to, well, not him. The feds are trying to paint this narrative that Durk is a menace to society. That's why they keep bringing up these song lyrics, because they want him to know, well, they want the jury and the judge and the public to know this is a violent person. This is a very, very violent person. But they're not done yet, because they keep going at him with more evidence, saying first, defendant has failed to identify any false statement or information actually contained in the affidavit. Apparently recognizing this, the defendant attempts to manufacture a misrepresentation by citing to an allegation about lyrics contained in a prior non-operative iteration of the indictment, then asks the court to interpose falsity within the affidavit where there is none. But other than the defendant's claim the warrants contain demonstrably false statements and or omissions, the motion is devoid of evidence or facts that show the following. And that is true, because basically the only thing you're trying to say is, hey, this song is old, but they're not really telling you what they're using this song for. So you're trying to get it thrown out, but they didn't even really play their cards right yet. So we're not got their cards right, their cards at all yet. So you don't know what the angle they're going to take to even get something thrown out. So that's one piece of evidence that's going against Durk right now. One piece that's going against Durk. The next is defendant's omission theory similarly lacks merit, citing to an affidavit from a sound engineer that the defendant Banks filed earlier in this case. Defendant asserts the affidavit recklessly or intentionally failed to state that the defendant wrote his lyrics before SR murders. Even assuming this is true, the government could. You still use this, is what I'm assuming. Like, that doesn't matter. That's old. That's what I've been saying the whole video. They're going to use it because they're trying to paint you in a horrible picture. The declaration was filed approximately 7 months before the actual government obtained the warrants to issue. Notably, defendant failed to comply with this district's local rules in filing the motion to suppress, which requires a declaration on behalf of the defendant, setting forth all facts then known upon which it is contended the motion should be granted. Notwithstanding defendant's lack of compliance, the government reserves the right to cross-examine any declarant in connection with the defendant's motion. So basically what there is a whole bunch of legal jargon, whole bunch of loopholes. That's why you pay the lawyers to actually handle these things for you. And it seems like Durk's lawyers are trying to do the best they can, but the feds are just not letting up. They lost with NBA Youngboy. They lost on other couple high-profile cases. They're not taking this L on Lil Durk neither. So I feel like they're on his ASS for a reason. And then the final nail in the coffin that we have is not have purposely or regularly omitted a fact it did not know. Even this is standard as if we met. It isn't. Defendant's argument also fails because it hinges on the premise that his lyrics are only relevant to the probable case determination if he wrote them after SR's murder. Not so. Defendant's lyrics admissions about ordering a hit and seeking revenge show defendants, and I don't even know how to say that, I'm just gonna say intent, and cooperate confidential witnesses one account that defendant ordered and financed the Los Angeles murder as set forth in the affidavit. So like I said, this whole video, they're basically trying to paint Durk in his horrible light to make him seem like he's a killer. He's putting money on people's head. He want everybody gone. He's a monster. He's a murderer. They want people to look at him like he is what the music portrays him to be. And this is crazy because you make this music to portray yourself like something and it works in your favor, but now it's not working in your favor because they're using it against you in court. So hopefully he does get a chance in his day in court to beat this, but the way they keep pushing his court date back and the way they keep trying to gather more evidence, I think this might end up being a mistrial, or he might end up taking a plea deal for lesser time just to get out, but we may never know. We're just going to see when everything shakes out when the court trial actually.